Good morning. Welcome to this version of Taking to the Cloud podcast developed by Withum. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about single channel and omni-channel and multi-channel and what all these things mean. Joining me today are Wendy Lynn and Melanie Saunders on our e-commerce team, and I'm Wally Merkas on the ERP and technology team. As we start to think about single channel and multi-channel and all of these words that are being thrown around in the space, Wendy, can you help us define some of these terms and what they mean?
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about e-commerce, there are three stages: single channel, multi-channel, and omni-channel. So when we talk about single and multi-channels, I think it's easier to bring back to a story and look at these stages in, for example, a retail store. So when I have a retail store and I have the location in downtown, my customers come to my store, buys the clothes or buys any products, finish a purchase there. I don't have any other channels or any other sources to get my customers to see or buy my products. That's the definition of a single channel. So that retail store is my channel, and um, that's the space where I get to interact with my customers. However, as my business continues to grow and continues to expand, I would think of where else I should um, operate my business to get get more presence either online or offline. So some examples could include expanding my social media presence to interact with my customers through Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or opening an online store to sell my stuff online. Or another example could be opening another store in another city so that I can also sell the products to the customers in that city. So that's the key difference between the single and multi-channel. And Melanie, do you want to share your thoughts about omni-channel?
Sure. So omnichannel almost takes it another step up from your multi-channel. A multi-channel approach works really well for a lot of people, but omnichannel is giving it just a little bit more. So you mentioned about multi-channel is interacting with your customers through Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any social media. So with omni-channel, you can actually get them to purchase your products through those mediums. So on uh, TikTok, you can link to your product. Same with Instagram. You can just put a sticker on your photo. They can purchase through there. You could do, as long as your pricing is the same, you could do your mobile website and have it the same as your store website. So it's just a whole other bunch of ways that you can get your customers to interact with your business. And it makes them feel that they have a bunch of different ways to get the product that they want in an easy way.
Oh, Melanie, that's awesome. I love the way you tied that together. And as I think of our customers, the challenge that they're seeing today is many of them want omni-channel, but don't understand the investment to get there. Meaning it is not just like everybody's going to be omni-channel. And some people by design will only ever be single channel, or maybe just a few very defined and specific depending on the industry they're in. It's very important as we go through and understand that each organization be looked at differently. If we pivot a little bit to a use case type approach and we start to think of single to multi and how you get there, maybe talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about adding marketplace, adding social, and what that might be. Maybe just expand on that a little bit for us.
Yeah, sure. It can seem kind of daunting because you're going from you could be going from a single storefront to all of these different channels all of a sudden. Um, but at the end of the day, it can be streamlined quite easily. A lot of these different marketplaces and social media, they do interact with one another. And the thing is, what we want is for the business to drive back to your site, back to, so people are making orders, they're getting your they're getting their cart on a whole bunch of different places, but at the end of the day, it's all going back to you and to your business, and that they can feel connected that way. So they can, the easiest way to do that is just to start looking at, what markets do you think are the best places for your customers to shop? Maybe Twitter isn't your, maybe that's not your customer base. Perhaps TikTok is not, or maybe it is, and that is the best way to start. But I think you really need to look at your customers, see what they think, and just kind of start from there.
Yeah, I really like that. And I love that you're sort of playing off, many of users and sort of, if I think of someone who's been around business for 20 years in the single channel, they wouldn't even understand how TikTok, other than the fun side of TikTok that we all know, and
Right.
they wouldn't even understand how TikTok might be able to work with them. So as we start to think through these organizations, it's not just about going to that social access or adding a marketplace. It's understanding what that tool that you're adding on brings to your channel. Love the way you laid that out for us. It's really good.
Yeah. TikTok had over 1 billion users in the fall. So that tells you there, like, it's, yeah, big.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. So, Wendy, as we start to think about sort of that selling in the multi-channel and thinking of disparate systems or disconnected systems and how that all might all work, talk a little bit about how going to a multi-channel might impact an organization who's got things all over the
Yeah,
place.
definitely. Yeah, we all know it's exciting with business expansions. We're all excited to add more channels, add more social presence, and try to show our products to different sources of customers. But the challenge that comes with the expansion is that sometimes we forgot to connect all the platforms, all the channels with a single source of truth, the data. And sometimes it's disconnected. And an example with that is maybe I'm selling the products in a retail store and I have a separate system to record my order entry and my shipping and logistics status. And that data might be different in your e-commerce platform because you're using a different system. So the challenge with having two separate systems for your data is that it could be confused. It could bring confusion for the team if you have multiple teams to run the channels, and it also brings inaccurate demand planning because now that you have inaccurate inventory data, you have incorrect sales data for your product. And the result of that, it could cause inconsistent customer experience because what if your product is out of stock, but in your e-commerce store, it still shows in stock? What happens if that customer places the order, and how would your team handles the communication? That we will need to bring, we'll need to think about those potential issues and be proactive with coming up with a solution that connects these disconnected systems.
I love that, Wendy. Just quickly, what I like about that connecting all those dots together, it's something that most companies don't do, or they band-aided solutions together as they expand, right? So they expand and everything gets good. And then we forget about all those other things like connecting inventory to that front end to make sure that all those solutions are pulling from that single source of truth. Really like that. Um, Given in the interest of time, I think we also wanted to add another use case around the mobile experience. And maybe Melanie, you can start us off. Just talk a little bit about what does mobile experience even mean, and what would we be thinking of as we get there?
Sure. So the mobile experience basically means that you feel that you have the same comfort shopping on your phone or tablet, your mobile devices, as you would on the website or even in the store. It's about bringing that seamlessness together. So just making sure that your pricing is the same. If you're going to do omni-channel, you should have the same sales for people that are using the mobile experience as the people in the store or on the website. It's all about making sure that if you can contact someone on the website, you should also be able to do that while you're doing it on your phone or tablet. A lot of people, it's just easy. It's easy for people to use their phone uh, rather than, sitting at their computer or even walking into a store sometimes. And the past couple of years, I think, has shown that like a lot, that people like the ease of being able to, quickly buy something on their phone. So yeah, there's definitely some challenges there with design, and you need to make sure that it's responsive and things like that. But yeah, basically it's just about making sure that you feel the same when you're at every channel.
Like that. I love the fact that you brought in your developer background with the responsiveness and just being able to see it. I mean, I agree. I go on my iPad and it renders differently than it does on my phone. And I know that the level of work needed to go into that back end hasn't quite been there. So thank you for that. As we think about today, as we think about sort of single to multi, it was great that we were able to walk through a few different use cases and try to understand. One of our future ones will be dedicated specifically around the disparate systems and tying this all together. Because I think if we can tie the single, multi, omni back to our models in the ERP side on the financial elements and the inventory, to Wendy's point, I think will be very good. So thank you for joining us today on this version of Take Me to the Cloud.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.